My people, we're done waiting for handouts or mercy from anyone. I promise Burkina Faso is going to build Africa's first major pharmaceutical powerhouse, and we're doing it hand in hand with Canada. We're not just imagining a future where Africa no longer has to wait for medicine or rely on others to survive. We're making it real, and it's starting right here. On a groundbreaking day, Burkina Faso signed a historic $50 billion deal with Canada to launch the continent's first large-scale pharmaceutical industry. But this isn't just some business deal, it's a transformation. A bold move toward medical independence, economic strength, and a future where Africa takes charge of its own health. Let's talk about what this really means. For far too long, Africa has been seen as the one always waiting for vaccines, for medicine, for help, but those days are over. Burkina Faso is rising up and saying loud and clear, we will make our own medicine, with our own hands, for our own people. This partnership with Canada isn't about charity, it's about mutual respect. It's about building a future side by side, as equals. It sends a message to every African, from the smallest village to the biggest city. The future won't be imported, it'll be built here with dignity, pride, and strength. This isn't just a one-time factory or a small project, it's a game changer. The plan includes cutting-edge factories to manufacture medicine, research centers to develop new treatments, and training hubs to educate the next generation of African scientists and healthcare workers. This deal is about ending the wait. No more delays for life-saving medicine. No more depending on foreign aid. It means Africa can start making vaccines, antibiotics, painkillers, and other essential drugs right here at home. President Ibrahim Traoré, the fearless and forward-thinking leader of Burkina Faso, stood before the nation and said, "We are done waiting. Africa will heal itself." Those words lit a fire across the continent, inspiring young people everywhere to believe in something bigger. This partnership with Canada, global leader in healthcare and innovation's the perfect match. Canada, but brings the technology, the know-how, and the resources. Burkina Faso brings the bold vision, the leadership, and the drive to turn it into reality. Now you might ask, why Burkina Faso? Why not a bigger country? The answer is simple. Burkina Faso has shown the courage to lead. Under President Traoré, we've made powerful moves, taking back control of key industries, investing heavily in research and education, and pushing out exploitative foreign interests. We're not here to beg, we're building partnerships based on equality. Burkina Faso is a land of potential, with the leadership, stability, and ambition to lead Africa's pharmaceutical revolution. And let's be clear, this is about sovereignty. As President Traoré put it, we will no longer just be consumers of medicine from others. We will become the producers and exporters of health for all of Africa. That bold vision is what got Canada's attention. Known for its top-tier healthcare system and groundbreaking research, Canada saw Burkina Faso as the ideal partner to make this vision real. The location is strategic to Burkina Faso, sits right in the heart of West Africa, perfectly positioned to distribute medicines across the whole continent. With growing infrastructure and a strong focus on renewable energy like solar and biomass, Burkina Faso is more than ready to host a pharmaceutical megacity that won't just serve its own people, but millions across Africa. So what exactly is being built? A pharmaceutical megacity is an entire ecosystem, not just a single factory. This $50 billion deal with Canada is creating something massive that will completely transform Burkina Faso and impact the entire continent. Here's what's included. Cutting-edge modern factories. These state-of-the-art facilities will produce billions of doses of life-saving medicines every year, everything from malaria treatments to HIV medications designed specifically to meet Africa's needs. Research and development labs. These labs will focus on creating new medicines and improving the ones we already have. African scientists will work side by side with Canadian experts to come up with real solutions to the diseases that affect this continent most. A biotech training university. A brand new university will be built to train the next generation of African pharmacists, researchers, and health engineers. It'll be co-managed by Canadian scientists and African academics, creating a true partnership in education and innovation. Distribution hubs. These centers will make sure that medicine reaches every corner of Africa, from busy cities to quiet, remote villages. No more relying on shipments from overseas. Massive job creation. This project is expected to generate over 250,000 jobs, directly and indirectly, from factory workers and scientists to transport and logistics workers. That means more steady income for African families and new opportunities for the youth. And this megacity isn't just being dropped into one place. It'll be spread across several provinces in Burkina Faso using local talent and resources. Even better, it'll be powered by renewable energy, like solar, to reduce costs and protect the planet. This isn't just a development project, it's a vision of a self-reliant Africa. So what does all this mean for the everyday person in Africa? Imagine walking into your local hospital and finding affordable, high-quality medicine produced right here on the continent. No more waiting 6 months for vaccines to arrive. No more taking expired pills or risking counterfeit drugs. This project is about making healthcare truly accessible, no matter where you live. Here's how it'll change the face of healthcare in Africa. Affordable medicine. Drugs made in Burkina Faso will cost up to 60% less than imported ones, making it possible for families to afford proper treatment without going broke. Better availability. Rural clinics and hospitals will finally have a steady, reliable supply of essential medicine. No more empty shelves or months-long delays. Faster emergency response. With built-in drug reserves, Africa will be able to respond to outbreaks and health crises without waiting on outside help. Safer drugs. Because these medicines will be produced and regulated locally, the chances of getting fake or low-quality drugs drop drastically. One user even posted, "No more shall African children die waiting for shipments from faraway lands. We shall produce life here in Burkina Faso." This isn't just about medicine. It's about hope, dignity, and independence. And it's not just a health deal, it's an economic game-changer too. This pharmaceutical megacity is expected to contribute 18% to Burkina Faso's GDP in the next 10 years. That's a massive economic boost for a country that was once underestimated. Here's how the economy will benefit. Jobs for Africans. With 250,000 new jobs, families will earn stable incomes, and young people will find careers in science, manufacturing, and logistics, a new export powerhouse. By 2030, Burkina Faso is expected to make around $12 billion a year by exporting medicines to nearby countries like Mali, Niger, and Ghana, putting the nation on the global trade map. Local development. The project will spark growth in local communities, new housing for workers, tech parks for entrepreneurs, and better infrastructure like roads and transport, all supported through the Burkina Faso-Canada Health Corridor. Less dependence on the West. By producing its own drugs, Africa could reduce its reliance on Western pharmaceutical imports by about 45%. That means more money stays within Africa. Strengthening local economies. Burkina Faso is on track to become Africa's pharmaceutical capital. From dry, dusty fields to world-class labs, this country is proving that big dreams can become real. And the impact won't stop at Burkina Faso. Countries like Kenya, Nigeria, and Rwanda are already lining up to buy medicine from this new industry. Canada, famous for its strong healthcare system, top-tier research, and commitment to global collaboration's the ideal partner. But make no mistake, this isn't about Canada coming in to save Africa. It's about two nations standing side by side, working as equals to build something truly extraordinary. Canada is bringing its deep expertise in pharmaceuticals, biotechnology, and scientific training to the table, while Burkina Faso is providing the land, the local resources, and the bold leadership to turn this dream into reality. Canadian companies are teaming up with Burkina partners to launch joint ventures focused on developing medicines specifically designed for Africa's needs, things like anti-malarials, HIV treatments, and vaccines for diseases that still hit the continent hard. Canadian scientists won't just be doing the work themselves, they'll be helping train African pharmacists, researchers, and health professionals. The goal is to make sure this knowledge stays in Africa, grows here, and gets passed on for generations. Canada's Prime Minister called the agreement a landmark for global cooperation, making it clear that this isn't about control, it's about empowerment. Unlike past partnerships where Western countries often dictated the terms, this deal respects Africa's sovereignty. It's based on mutual benefit and shared progress. It's a model for what international collaboration should look like, lifting each other up, not holding each other back. And this deal goes far beyond Burkina Faso. It's not just about making medicine. It's about Africa stepping forward not as a follower, but as a leader on the world stage. For too long, the Western media has painted Africa as helpless, always needing to be saved. But this partnership proves that those days are over. Africa is done begging. Africa is building. Some of the big Western pharmaceutical companies are watching this closely and, yes, some of them are nervous. They've had a tight grip on the global medicine market for years, charging high prices and keeping Africa dependent. But now Burkina Faso is setting a new course, and other African countries are paying attention. Many are already exploring similar partnerships with Canada and other allies who believe in fairness and real cooperation. This historic move supports the African Union, ASA Agenda 2063 Menosa, plan that calls for health sovereignty across the continent and the establishment of the African Medicines Agency (AMA). The AMA will play a key role in regulating drugs across Africa, ensuring quality, safety, and consistency. With Burkina Faso leading the way, Africa will now produce, regulate, and distribute its own medicine on its own terms. At the center of this revolution is President Ibrahim Traoré, a leader many are calling the health liberator of Africa. His courage, clear vision, and relentless drive are what made this deal possible. In an inaugural speech, he declared, "No more shall we wait for handouts of expired drugs. Africa will produce life with dignity." They see Traoré not just as a president, but as a symbol of hope, a sign that Africa can lead the world in industries like biotech, science, and manufacturing. Under his leadership, Burkina Faso has pushed back against neo-colonial systems and is choosing partnerships based on equality, mutual respect, and shared progress. His vision reaches beyond healthcare. He's pushing for an Africa that isn't just a buyer, but a builder, not just a market, but a maker. He's proving that African talent, African resources, and African resolve can achieve incredible things. As one young Burkinabé proudly wrote on social media, "This is our time. We are not just dreaming, we are doing. This is just the beginning," and it really is. The Burkina Faso-Canada partnership is the spark that's already igniting change across the continent. Other nations are lining up, eager to follow this example. This pharmaceutical megacity will serve as a blueprint for how Africa can lead in science, technology, and innovation. Here at Africa News, we're committed to telling this story as it unfolds, sharing the truth, the vision, and the rise of a continent that's no longer silent. This deal proves it. Africa is done waiting. From state-of-the-art laboratories to thriving local economies, Africa is building a future that's bold, proud, and unstoppable. So grab a seat, hit that subscribe button, and join us as we witness history in the making. This isn't just news, it's a new chapter in Africa's story. Burkina Faso is leading the way, the world is watching. Stay bold, stay African, and stay woke. Now, let's look at what this $50 billion deal is actually going to build. This is a huge project designed to turn Burkina Faso into a hub for health and innovation in Africa. First, there will be advanced high-tech manufacturing plants. These modern factories will produce billions of doses of essential medicine every year, everything from vaccines and antibiotics to painkillers and treatments for diseases like malaria, tuberculosis, and HIV/AIDS. The factories will use Canada's cutting-edge technology, combined with local resources, to keep production efficient, affordable, and accessible. Second, the deal includes biotechnology research labs. Research will play a major role in this project, and it's just getting started. New laboratories will be built to develop medicines tailored specifically to Africa's health needs. These aren't just standard labs. They'll focus on vaccines for tropical diseases that are often ignored by big Western pharmaceutical companies. In these labs, Canadian experts will work side by side with African scientists, creating a powerhouse of innovation rooted in both global knowledge and local experience. Education is a key part of making all this sustainable. That's why the deal includes a new biotech training university designed to train thousands of young Africans to become pharmacists, researchers, scientists, and health engineers. This university will be co-managed by African and Canadian academics to make sure the skills stay in Africa, creating homegrown talent that doesn't have to depend on outside help. But developing medicine isn't enough if it can't reach the people who need it. That's why the project includes a full distribution network. New logistics hubs will make sure medicine gets from factories to hospitals and clinics across the continent, even to remote villages. No more waiting months for shipments. No more empty pharmacy shelves. The entire pharmaceutical megacity will run on renewable energy, primarily solar and biomass, that not only keeps costs low and production sustainable but also makes smart use of Burkina Faso's abundant sunlight. It's a win for the economy and for the environment, ensuring this project succeeds for the long haul. Let's take a look at what this really means in numbers. Over 250,000 direct and indirect jobs will be created, everything from lab researchers to factory technicians, truck drivers to pharmacists. Within 10 years, the industry is expected to contribute 18% to Burkina Faso's entire GDP by 2030. Exports are projected to bring in $12 billion every year, making Burkina Faso a major player in global pharmaceutical trade. Over 4 billion doses of vaccines will be produced annually. And most importantly, Africa's dependence on imported medicine from Western countries could drop by 45%. These numbers aren't just statistics, they're a promise. A promise of a healthier, more independent future for millions across the continent. The public reaction to this deal has been electric. Across social media, Africans are celebrating this historic step forward. On X, formerly Twitter, hashtags like #AfricaHealsItself and #BurkinaRising are trending. One post read, "For the first time, I feel like Africa is in control of its own destiny. Thank you, Burkina Faso." In towns, cities, and rural villages, the impact is already being felt. A mother in rural Burkina Faso said, "I won't have to worry about finding medicine for my children anymore." A young student in the capital, said, "I want to study biotechnology and work in those new labs. This is my future." Leaders from countries like Kenya, Nigeria, and Rwanda are watching closely. Some have already expressed interest in buying medicine from Burkina Faso's new industry. This deal is uniting Africa, showing that when one country rises, the whole continent moves forward. The world is watching too, and not everyone is thrilled. Western pharmaceutical giants, who have long profited from selling overpriced drugs to Africa, are feeling the pressure. With Burkina Faso producing its own medicines, their monopoly is being challenged. Some Western media outlets have reacted with what can only be described as quiet discomfort. A few have acknowledged the achievement, while others seem worried about what Africa's independence means for the status quo. But Africans aren't paying attention to the doubters. As President Ibrahim Traoré said clearly, "We are done begging. We are building." This deal also represents a major win for global cooperation. Canada's Prime Minister called it a new model for how countries can work together as equals. It's a powerful example of South-South cooperation showing that Africa, Latin America and Asia can rise and grow by supporting one another, without relying on traditional Western aid systems. This is Africa's moment. The Burkina Faso-Canada partnership is proof that the continent can lead, innovate, and thrive. It's a call to every African young and old to dream bigger and work harder. The future isn't something we wait for, it's something we build with our hands, our minds, and our pride. At Africa's B News, we're here to tell the real story of Africa's rise. We're not just reporting headlines, we're sharing a vision. So like, share, and subscribe to stay part of this incredible journey. The pharmaceutical revolution in Burkina Faso is only the beginning. What comes next is even bigger. Stay bold, stay African, stay woke. And finally, a note of truth. This $50 billion Burkina Faso-Canada pharmaceutical deal hasn't happened yet, but it represents a dream that's very real. A vision shared by millions across Africa. It reflects the hopes of a generation that refuses to be defined by poverty or dependence. Africans are no longer just imagining a better future. They're building it brick by brick, vision by vision. This story is a spark, a call to action meant to ignite minds and inspire leaders everywhere. Let this be a message to the world. Africa is ready, ready to rise, ready to lead, ready to heal itself. Stay bold, stay African, stay woke, and never stop dreaming of a continent where fiction becomes reality.